Welcome to Theology Unpacked. Today, we're diving into the book of Proverbs. Now, if you've ever flipped through it and thought it's just a random collection of old sayings, I want to challenge you to see it in a new light. What if it's not a rule book, but more like a training manual for mastering a skill, the actual skill of living well?
You know, when we hear that word wisdom, our minds usually jump to intelligence, right? Like having a high IQ or being super clever. But the book of Proverbs completely flips that idea on its head. The original Hebrew word, hukmah, it actually describes the skill of a master craftsman, like a carpenter or a potter. So Proverbs isn't presenting wisdom as something you just know in your head, but as something you do with your hands. It's a practical craft for skillfully navigating all the complexities of life.
So here's the big idea. Biblical wisdom is all about the skill of applying God's truth to our everyday lives. Think of it like learning any other trade. You don't become a great chef just by reading cookbooks. You have to get in the kitchen and start cooking. In the same way, Proverbs gives us the tools and techniques to become skilled artisans of our own lives.
Okay, so with any skill, you need a starting point, a fixed reference. I mean, you can't build a straight wall without a level, and you definitely can't navigate the wilderness without a compass. Proverbs tells us that for skillful living, we first need to find our own true north.
Life is full of twists and turns, and so many confusing crossroads. It's really easy to get lost without a reliable compass. The scriptures suggest that this compass, this unwavering guide, is our orientation toward God Himself.
This right here is the foundational verse for the entire book. Now, that word fear, it can be a little misleading. This isn't about being scared of God, not at all. It's describing a profound sense of reverence and awe, a deep respect for who He is, His holiness, His authority, His perfect wisdom. It's basically about admitting His GPS is way better than ours. And that humble posture, that's where all true knowledge actually begins.
So, once we've found our true north, Proverbs paints this really powerful and recurring picture. Life is like a constant fork in the road. And with every single choice we make, whether it's big or small, we're stepping onto one of two very, very different paths.
The contrast couldn't be more stark, could it? The person on the wise path is teachable, they're always seeking knowledge. But the fool, they hate being corrected. And just look at the destinations. One path leads to safety and a good life. The other leads to ruin. The Bible is incredibly clear that our choices have real consequences.
I absolutely love this imagery. The wise path is like a sunrise. You know, at first, things might seem a little dim, a little uncertain, but as you keep walking, the light just grows. The way forward becomes clearer, more sure, and it's filled with hope. Every wise step you take actually illuminates the next one.
And then you have the complete opposite. The fool's path is like trying to walk in pitch-black darkness. The real danger here isn't just that you can't see where you're going, it's that you don't even know what's tripping you up. Your own bad choices become these hidden traps that lead to all kinds of unforeseen, painful consequences. It's a life of chaos and confusion.
So choosing the wise path isn't some abstract one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It shows up in the most practical, down-to-earth parts of our lives. This is where the craft of wisdom gets super real, you know? It's applied to things like our words, our anger, our work, and even who we hang out with.
A fantastic place to start is with our words. Proverbs is just jam-packed with teachings about the power of our tongue. It really makes you stop and ask yourself, are the things I'm saying creating life and health in my relationships, or am I actually causing damage?
This verse is just so potent. Notice the Bible doesn't say our words are like life and death. It says they are life and death. Our speech has the literal power to build a person up or completely tear them down. A wise person understands this and uses their words carefully, like a precision tool for doing good.
Okay, and what about anger? It is such a powerful emotion. Wisdom teaches us to master it, not to be mastered by it. According to Proverbs, true strength isn't found in a fiery outburst, but in a patient spirit. A gentle response can completely disarm a tense situation, and having a peaceful heart, well, that's like medicine for your whole body. The Bible also has a lot to say about our work ethic. And the principle is pretty simple. Diligence leads to abundance. Consistent, hard work brings provision. But laziness, what the scriptures call sloth, that road inevitably leads to poverty. Wisdom means being a responsible steward of the time and the resources we've been given.
And finally, our friendships.
This is such a critical area for practical wisdom. This verse makes it crystal clear you become like the people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with wise people, guess what? Their wisdom is going to rub off on you. But if you choose to be the companion of fools, you will eventually share in their painful consequences.
So we have our compass, that reverence for God, and we're trying our best to walk the wise path in our words, our work, and our relationships. But what happens when the path gets foggy? What do you do when the next step just isn't obvious?
And let's be honest, life is full of these moments of uncertainty, isn't it? Times when our own understanding just isn't enough to see the way forward. We could be doing all the right things and still feel totally lost.
And this brings us to the ultimate goal of wisdom, and it's captured in one of the most famous passages in the entire book of Proverbs. You see, the final destination of the wise path isn't self-reliance, it's total reliance on God. It's about humbly admitting that our understanding is limited and then trusting that when we submit our ways to Him, He's the one who will make our path straight.
So how do we pull all of this together? How can we actually start applying this skill to our lives, like today?
Okay, let's trace the path one last time. It all begins with our compass, a reverent trust in God. That sets our direction. Then we recognize that our daily choices are constantly placing us on one of two paths, the way of wisdom or the way of folly. We practice that wisdom in the real stuff of life, our speech, our emotions, our work, our friendships. And through it all, the ultimate goal is to learn to trust His guidance, not just our own limited perspective.
And that's really the challenge that Proverbs leaves us with. Wisdom isn't some big abstract idea. It's a concrete action. It's about the next right thing. So looking at your own life right now, what is one small, practical, wise step you can take today? Thanks for tuning in to Theology Unpacked. Please like, subscribe, and share this with the first person you thought of who needs to hear it.